All right. Happy Valentine's Day. Despite being Valentine's Day today, I'm still continuing my series on the Rocky series. So in the meantime, here's my review of Rocky V from 1990. The film was directed by John G. Avildsen, the same director from the first Rocky movie. Instead of Sylvester Stallone directing this film, he only wrote and starred in the movie. Talia Shire, Burt Young, Burgess Meredith reprised their roles. It also had Sage Stallone, Sylvester Stallone's real life son, and real life boxer Tommy Morrison. This was Burgess Meredith's last film of the Rocky series before his death in 1997. Rocky V was released on November 16, 1990. The film grossed $119.9 million at the box office. It was not a box office success. And it was not well received by critics and audiences, considered to be the weakest of the Rocky series. And honestly, I can agree because this film is really not that good. It's not the worst thing, but it's definitely like one of the weakest of the series. The film is not consistent. It loses its charm. And it definitely loses its momentum. What the first like four movies brought us. This film deserved a much better justice ending to the series. The story is weak, and the new characters are just not that good. In Rocky V, Rocky retires because of brain damage. After when he retires, he files for bankruptcy and loses everything. He ends up moving back to South Philly, where he's originally from, with his family. He meets a young fighter named Tommy Gunn, who he trains to be the new heavyweight champion. After when the Fang gets to Tommy's head, he gets mad at Rocky and wants to fight Rocky. Before the Creed movies, this was the first time Rocky tried passing the torch to a new fighter. But once Tommy becomes a sellout, Rocky wants the torch back. The biggest flaws about Rocky in this movie, how he's very neglectful to his son, and he focuses too much on training Tommy. Who Rocky trains in this movie, he sucks. He's nothing but trash and garbage. After when Rocky trains him, he signs with businessman Duke. He lets all the fame get to his head and becomes nothing but a sellout, and gives Rocky no credit for all the training he did for him. He does not respect him because he did not go the distance like Rocky did. He made the fight look easy. Robert Balboa, played by Sage Stallone, Sylvester Stallone's real-life son, may he rest in peace. His acting, it's not that it's like bad, it's just really like not that good or the best. But then again, he was a kid actor, so I kind of give it a little bit of a pass. But I will admit, at times you do feel bad for the character because his father neglects him because he's focused too much on Tommy. And you also feel bad for him when he gets bullied at school. And he trains himself thinking that fighting is the answer, which kind of sends a bad message that fighting is not always the answer to solving problems. Also, one question. Where the heck were the teachers when he fought that kid? In some ways, it kind of has a little bit of a Karate Kid to some degree in this movie. Man is a mean business greedy man who only cares about money and no one else. He's narcissistic and over the top. Biggest problems and flaws of Rocky V is the continuity. We see how where the last film picked off where Rocky's fighting Ivan Drago, and yet somehow it cuts to like seeing how like, when we see his son, who was 9 years old in Rocky IV and all of a sudden is now 14 years old. How does he go from 9 to 14 years old? It makes no sense. The film does not do a good job explaining whether this was like years or a couple months after Rocky IV. It makes no sense. What, Rocky Jr. just hit a growth spurt or something? To that when Rocky fights Tommy, his brain injury is not getting any worse. I'm not a doctor, but I can only imagine that for boxers, when they suffer like severe concussions and brain injuries, it's really bad. It was over the top at times and very corny, very macho. Despite Rocky V being the weakest of the series, the movie does have its highlights and does have some like touching moments at times. I like how in the end when Rocky fights Tommy, it's one of the few times that Rocky did not fight in the ring, he fights on the streets. I also like when Rocky says, "My ring's outside." And Tommy got what he deserved in the end after the way he used Rocky and not earning respect. And when he punches Duke Washington after when he wins the fight against Tommy on the street, he says, "You touch me, I'll sue you." And Rocky punches him, "Sue me for what?" Funny, cheesy moment. Adrian's the only one in this movie has common sense. Like how when she stops Rocky from fighting because Tony Duke does not care about him and only wants to make money and not concerned about his health. Also, how like when she puts like common sense into Rocky's head, realizing that Rocky's been very neglectful to his son, and that the difference between him and Tommy is that Rocky fought with heart and confidence, whereas Tommy's nothing like Rocky. After when Rocky realizes this, he reconnects with his son and all is forgiven. He goes broke. He goes and visits Mickey's old gym where he used to train him. He thinks about an old memory of Mickey, giving him words of wisdom. It also shows him realizes how much Rocky really misses him and wishing that he was there with him after what he's been through when he lost all his money. Scenes between Rocky and his son they're okay, they're decent, they're not great or anything. Not like they're Academy Award kind of film, but it's decent itself. But I'll admit they definitely could have been done a little bit better. I also like how the film closes on a montage from the first Rocky film up until this movie with pictures. But unfortunately, it's not really a satisfying ending of the series. Never in a million years I'd ever imagine they'd ever make another Rocky movie until Rocky Balboa 2006. Facts on Rocky 5. Sylvester Stallone rates this 0 among the Rocky movies. Even Sylvester Stallone admitted that he made this movie because of greed. In the first Rocky movie, Sylvester Stallone was paid $23,000, whereas in Rocky 5, he was paid $15 million. Rocky movie to lose money at the box office. The original ending to Rocky 5 was originally supposed to kill Rocky off in the end. After when Rocky dies in the street fight against Tommy Gunn, he would have died in Adrian's arm, and Adrian would have announced to the world that Rocky died and that his spirit would live on. And then it was going to end with a montage of footage from the first movie when Rocky ran the steps on the Philadelphia Museum. Sylvester Stallone did not like this idea that he ended up changing the ending, which I'm kind of glad. It would have been strange and a little bit too much of killing off Rocky, but then who really knows how this film should have ended with better justice than what we got. Williams and Tommy Morrison were real-life boxers. They were originally supposed to fight 1 month after their film's premiere. But unfortunately, the fight had to be canceled because Michael Anthony Williams had an injury. Terry Funk choreographed the street fight between Rocky and Tommy Morris. The boxing writers that you see in this movie are real. They're not actors. And 2 was based on real-life businessman Duke King. He even used his famous catchphrase, "Only in America," for the role of Union Kane. Jodie Letizia, who played Marie in the first Rocky film, was originally supposed to reprise her role in this film as a prostitute, which was a foreshadow of what Rocky predicted in the first film. This could have been very interesting, but too bad they did not use this idea. On Rocky 5, hope you enjoyed it. Please like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification button to get my latest updates on my channel.